Hello, Phil Manna.
Hello, Cliff.
you could talk a little louder.
Hello, Cliff.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Phil, we've been talking about like doing a replay of our opening podcast for a long. This isn't quite a replay, right? Because we don't have the whole crew.
We don't have. I don't have my better half. So
yeah, there you go. Much better. Okay, you have covered yourself for this podcast. So everyone, this is the Speak USA podcast. I'm your host, Cliff Zintgraff. Let's learn about our democracy and all of the things that we can do to protect it and make it stronger. Which, Phil, you are absolutely sold out to. If we were to run the list of everything that you're doing, it would be a long list. In fact, I forgot to ask how do I introduce you? Like you are the director of
I'm retired.
10 things.
I'm just a retired person just trying to find how they can save democracy.
Trying to make a difference.
So trying to find wherever it is that we can, whatever holes we can fill, and there's lots of holes, and really just stepping up and finding the ways that we can actually make differences and find small things. And sometimes the things are kind of small, and sometimes they're actually kind of big. So it's been kind of fun doing a lot of things.
Yeah, indeed. That's a good point, Phil. We learn so much doing this. I mean, I've noticed that, just the amount I'm learning. And, I got to admit, I'm not doing it because I want to get smart. I'm doing it because I think the country needs it badly. And so we're here to talk about something very specific that you've been working on, really just to introduce. This isn't, hey, everybody, this is not going to be a full-length episode. We're mainly here to do a short intro for something you've already been working on, to encourage you all to watch it and give it a little bit of context. Phil, tell us about it.
So we became engaged with the Bexar County Democratic Party a while ago, after a conversation I had with Bonnie Cron, which I think we're going to see a little bit later. And in a conversation with her, she kind of introduced me to this notion of her program where she's recording a lot of the candidates that are out there. And so we first approached this as that would be a great thing to do in San Antonio as well. And we talked about being kind of an adjunct of her or a remote component of her activity. And that started me down this path of what it would take to actually record all the candidates in Bexar County. And it became quite large, actually, to make it happen.
All-consuming?
All-consuming. Yeah, it became a very all-consuming thing. And so I've been doing that for the last 2 months, pretty much nonstop. So it's been kind of, some of the other things got kind of put aside, just realizing that there's a timeline that we're approaching here where it became very relevant with regards to trying to make it all happen.
I thought of 2 titles for you while you were talking. One was director of videography but it's more than that though. I rejected that one because it's more like a director of message opportunity.
That one may be more appropriate because really the video person.
Mm-hmm.
So part of it, when we were first talking with Michelle Solis from the Bexar County Dem office, it was man on the street going in interviewing somebody, and I have an okay camera and I have an okay mic, and I bought extra stuff to try to make this happen. But we got tagged into Grant through Powered by People, and he's a professional. And I realized then, okay, now we actually have something. Yeah. And so I was able to hoodwink him.
Part of why I was like, no, you're not the videographer. Right. Although you could do it, right? But he was really the videography person.
Yeah. And I'm the interviewer. So basically, when it comes through, we're putting on so many hats. So I'm doing all of the scheduling, and I'm doing all of the help write some of the script, although we did get the Young Dems to help us write the scripts. And then coordinated with all of the candidates, and that's been overwhelming in and of itself. And then actually doing the interviews, and then reaching back out to confirm that they're okay with all the videos, and so try to do soup to nuts all the way through in a one-man show, with a supporting cast helping me, through all the really hard things. And I'm just kind of figuring out what it is that I can do.
On the one hand, that makes it hard to wear so many hats. On the other hand, it kind of gives you the whole palette to be able to manage it and have an opportunity that comes out. A product, not an opportunity, have a product that comes out in a really good way. We kind of skipped the why part. We touched on it, but I don't know that we got to the deeper reasons. So Like you kind of gave the practical reason you did it. Somebody asked you to, or you saw an example, but what's the deeper reason that you're spending time on something like this?
We so one of the other projects we were working on was writing websites for all of the counties throughout Texas, and for Democratic parties in each of the counties. And the feedback of what started that was that there's a lot of people out there that don't feel the love for the Democratic Party, and they really don't have enough information that they can kind of get to really understand who represents them and who's supporting them. And we had some conversations that they didn't know, right as of 2 months ago, who was really the representative. And so it's like, well, how do we fix that? And so one of the answers is, let's come up with introductions, to be able to let people know who represents them, as well as I think that a lot of people, when they go look at the list, this was quite a large ballot, and I think when we go to the polls regularly, and we'll be there voting, and we're well prepared, and we spend 3 minutes doing our voting, where you'll see somebody looking at the list for the first time going, okay, just watch them, and they're kind of reading each one and trying to, I don't know, pull whatever from wherever they're getting it, and they'll spend a half hour voting. And so it's like, well, how can we help those people be prepared when they go into the voting booth, and at least have a notion of who it is that they're voting for? And so how do we prove that?
Yeah. So just to cover a little bit more to what it took to do it. I mean, you kind of soup to nuts, that was your term, but what about the recording itself? So how many days did it take you to do that? What was it like one candidate right after another? Was it a schedule? How did it go quick?
So we interviewed 87 candidates, and
wait, what?
87 candidates. And
my gosh,
we only had three. So we defined. So first was trying to figure out who was running, and so we worked with the state of Texas as the candidates are coming through and confirming. Working with Bexar County Dems, we're kind of comparing notes to say, okay, is this person in? Is this person out? And we're helping each other build a list. And we had decided early on that for the candidates that were statewide, we were not necessarily going to focus on them. If they came, great. But everybody who was really local candidates, be it federal and or state and or county, then those are the ones that we were going to be focused on. And so we got the list of all of them, and then it was an undertaking of getting all their contact information, so building that list. And I probably have the most thorough contact list for Bexar County for all the candidates. And so then started making the phone calls, and then we would post up a schedule that said, this weekend we're going to put in.
So you scheduled 87 people, you interviewed 87 people, you made the videos did the post processing of the videos for 87 people,
and then have the post processing. We're not yet finished publishing the county clerks, and we're trying to get through them, and I'm hoping to have those up this weekend.
Okay, county clerks, you should be offended by this.
So sorry.
We're doing what we can. It's incredible. It's incredible what you've done. So those 80, how many of those 87 are local races?
Well, all 80. Well,
you said there were some.
So we have in the comptroller and the commissioners. So we have 3 of the commissioners, all 4 of the. Let's see, I'm going to get them wrong. So I got the DA or the GA. So the whatever administrator or the attorney general. Sorry, attorney general, and then we got 2 of the governors, and we have the whole comptrollers, and then we have 1 of the land commissioners, and the land commissioners coming in next weekend. So
south of 10.
South of 10.
Yeah, all the others are all local.
Well, I would say are local. Yes.
Local races. So let's talk a little bit about the themes that came out then. Obviously you've heard all of these interviews. If you think across all of them, what were some common themes that you heard the candidates talking about, regardless of what they're running for?
So part of the interview process was we allowed everybody to get their 3-minute stump speech, and then we followed up with subsets that you could use to build a 3-minute stump speech. So if we needed to paste something together, we could. And then we asked some specific questions that were kind of, we'll say, unique to each of the races themselves. And one of my favorite question, because it was our group, was, what is it that Philip Manna or I should be doing to save democracy? And so we had every one of them respond to that, and we're going to build a montage of that, which would be wonderful, I think. And we're trying to work through how to get 87 people into, a film, that'll be fun to watch or tolerable to watch. But I'll say that a lot of people, a lot of them recognized a lot of disarray that we're in, and so and all of them had answers on how to resolve it. And so everyone was just wonderful and pleasant, and we made a lot of good friends out of the conversations. And so and so I think it was very enlightening, really, just to see that there's a lot of people out there trying to make a difference, and them stepping up to try to make that difference. And so I think that was the other aha.
How many were first time candidates? Do you?
Oh, I don't know. Well, so there were several races where, let's see, I think probably a dozen. I would say a dozen of the races had first time. Basically, they're left. Were, I guess, let's see, four races were left where the people are no longer running, and so those are first time there in that perspective. And then a lot of them this is their first time ever.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to some of these people. For some of them, this is stepping up.
Yes.
Right. This is watching what's going on in our federal government and our state government and saying, nope, I'm not just going to be quiet.
Well, a lot of them had their stories of why it is that they started, and and some of those stories were just wonderful. A citizen recognizing that something wasn't right, and then started figuring out how to get engaged, and it started growing from different community engagement, then to larger community engagement, and then all of a sudden talking to the city level, and now they're at the county level, and so they watched themselves grow in this process. The other thing I learned a whole lot about was the judicial branch is very complex and complicated, and I had no idea how complicated it was with regards to all of the levels that exist in San Antonio, and then how it levels up, to eventually to the Supreme Court. But we were working with a group, or there's one person within our group that successfully obtained a candidate for every race in Texas, and so
stop right there.
Uh-huh.
Say that again.
Okay, so there's a group, and so they had a goal of getting a candidate for every federal and state position in Texas.
And did it.
And did it. And one of the first times, maybe the second time ever, that happened. And so
on the Democratic
side, yes.
Okay.
Yes, on the Democratic side.
Yeah. Well, that's step one. Contest every race.
Yes, step
right.
one.
Yeah.
And out of that was what all of these judicial roles, which we regularly will miss out on, simply because a lot of them have been assigned by Greg Abbott, and then everyone gets to come in as an incumbent, and so which seems problematic in general. But that's one of the reasons why I think that the Democratic Party wanted to have somebody running every time
to make sure
that at least there's someone speaking to it.
Yeah, and I had a good conversation with Judge Yolanda Huff last week, who was on the podcast. So I think this is the moment where we bring out Judge Huff. We still got your gavel here, and there we go. I hope that that was probably pretty loud. Sorry, everybody, but hey, we have fun here. So let's just kind of the practical view of it then. So 87 candidates. How many races, more or less, was that? It's not 87 races,
I would
right?
say there's 40 races.
About 40 races,
40 races
for all of the local positions, judges, county judges. I know county clerk was on there.
So a whole plethora of judicial. So the county judge, county commissioners, although commissioners are running unopposed. Oh, so one of the things that we did limit ourselves on this round was only for contested primary candidates. And so we didn't show the love necessarily to the rest of them, but we will be coming back to them after we get past the primaries.
Understood.
But it, yeah,
So if it's on the ballot.
If it's on the ballot. And so, and that was one of the things that we also did was we built a pseudo ballot and included on the ballot all of the candidates as you would see them when you walked into the voting booth. And so now you see their picture and then all of their socials and their websites and all that. So it's kind of a one-stop shop to see who it is that you're potentially be voting for, and then be able to find out more about them.
Yeah. By the way, with all the things you built, I wouldn't be surprised if you built a ballad to go with the ballot.
So one of the things we're talking about for the montage was trying to figure out how to make a tune out of what it is that the candidates are saying.
Oh my gosh!
So it was.
You want some crowdsouring on that?
Yeah. So if you have a suggestion, so vote was a very common thing, and so we had vote, another one votes. So trying to figure out as they're going through. But anyways, we digress.
Yeah, dust. I heard the song you were going after, and must rhymes with dust. So maybe who knows, right? So, all right. Well, where do people find this?
So we stood up. So we are a subset. We actually put everything on to the local. The local site for Speak USA.
For Speak USA.
And so we have a San Antonio branch of that, and so if you go to speakusa.org and you go to the local chapter, I was trying to think of the word,
right.
Local chapter, and then local chapter would be San Antonio, and San Antonio there's a banner across the top that says the candidate page.
The candidate page,
and
right.
So that's probably the easiest way to find it. But,
okay. All right, that sounds great. Anything else people need to know?
Vote.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully there's enough information out there that everyone can make a more informed decision, and that's really the ultimate goal.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so everyone, you got your work cut out for you to watch these candidate interviews. Make sure you make a thoughtful vote, and do so in a way that protects our country. As I always go out with, what'd you learn about your democracy today? I think one thing we learned is we got people who are working hard to try to make our country a better place than it is right now. Remember, you can learn more at our website, speakusa.org. We invite you to engage with our mission, learn, connect, give, and speak up. So go out there, vote for the USA, and speak for the USA. Thanks, everybody.